You're watching the Hong Kong Racing Show. I'm Andrew Brown, joined by my regular co-pilot, Alex Evers. What's happening, Alex?
Not much, Brownie. Just excited to talk about some Hong Kong racing, some international racing, and get on with Breeders' Cup here next week.
Yeah, there is plenty happening in the world of racing, isn't there? And really excited because our special guest today just so happened to win the Everest on Ka Ying Rising last weekend. How good was that race, by the way?
Unreal. Never in doubt. He looked a winner from the moment he got in the parade ring to the moment he crossed the line. It was as advertised, as expected, and 9-2 for Mr. Carroll. Oh, he's got to be happy. We got to give us some kickbacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Imagine getting 5.5 on a horse that eventually went up to 1.8 or 2.0. Absolutely amazing, and probably should have been a lot shorter than that as well. I think
Yeah.
Ka Ying Rising was about 1.3 in the end on the world pool, something along those lines. But as I mentioned, we are about to be joined by 8-time Hong Kong champion and now the Everest winning jockey, Zac Purton. Zach also just wrote his 1900th winner in Hong Kong during the week. So plenty to talk about with him. Alex and I caught up with him just a little bit earlier. How are things, Zach?
Yeah, pretty good. It's been a busy few weeks and even busier last week, but it's been really, really good. I've enjoyed it and had a good time down there in Australia. But we're back in Hong Kong, with their head in the book, trying to write a few more winners.
We've got plenty to talk to you about because you just keep making headlines for us, I guess. So thanks for that. But as you touched on, let's, of course, start with last weekend in Sydney, Australia, and you win aboard Ka Ying Rising in the Everest. Are you still buzzing?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, that was special. More so for the horse. Like I've got such a love and affinity for the horse, and obviously there was everything spoken about with him leading into the race, especially from his barrier trial onwards. The 10 days from the trial to the race was a long 10 days, and I'm glad David Hayes was down there fronting the media every day, and I was sort of away from him a little bit up here in Hong Kong, but I could feel the pressure and I could feel the build up. And what surprised me the most was how much attention he got in the mainstream media, which I think is really, really good for our sport. There are a lot of people down there that don't normally follow racing that knew the race was on and was following it, and it was making the lead story in the mainstream news, which is really, really good. But then to get down there and to have such a good day, the weather was perfect, the track was perfect, it was a big crowd. They sing Sweet Caroline, as we know. The build up to the race is really, really good. They've done such a good job, and then to have him to deliver and get the job done and earn the recognition that he deserves, and to show people that he is the real deal. I thought that was special, and I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, well said, unbelievable, and just so you know too, like I mean, I think that the coverage in Australia was phenomenal, and you're right, like Channel 7, Channel 9, Channel 10, all the free to air channels, every single night were leading their sport with the Everest, and credit to Peter Volandis and Racing New South Wales, everybody involved with the event. But people were talking about this all around the world as well, like America. We were at Santa Anita, Alex and I, and jockeys will be talking about that trial. What did you think of the trial? And it was phenomenal. I really think it captured the imagination of the racing world sort of internationally, and then the mainstream sort of media in Australia as well. But I got to ask you, straight after the race, I love that interview directly after the race, and you said that's probably the most satisfying win of my career. Why is that?
I just think because I wanted the horse to get the recognition that he deserved. He had his
Yeah,
knockers, especially from people in Australia. They weren't really giving him the credit that he to be the horse that he is. He's done great things here in Hong Kong, and I've
yeah,
ridden a lot of really good horses over my career, and I know how good he is, but people weren't recognising that. Um, and like I said, the barrier trial didn't do anything to solidify the ability that he had, but when it mattered on race day, he turned up and he got the job done. And I think it's more about the horse's legacy than mine. Of course, I wanted to win the race. I'm very happy to win the race, and it's great for David as well. But I think for the horse, like now his position in Hong Kong and global racing for what he's been able to do is etched in history forever. He's the first international horse to win it. He, like I've said, he carried the weight of a nation from here in Hong Kong. and the expectation of the market around the world as well. So for him to have all that on his shoulders and me and carry us over the line to victory, he deserves everything he gets.
He looked like he just did it so comfortably and easily. Like there was no point in time watching that race back here from the States that he looked like he was going to get beat.
He was just in the right spot. He had a beautiful run in the race. He was in a lovely rhythm. The race probably wasn't run as fast as I would have liked. I would have liked them to be going as sort of half a step quicker, and then he really would have got into a nice rhythm, but they just backed it off. And in that scenario, he sort of tippy toes a little bit because it's a little bit too slow for him, but he was just in the right spot the whole way. He travelled really nice, and when I come out, it was just a matter of whether he was going to lengthen, whether he was going to deliver, and once he changed his leg and started to get into his rhythm at the 300-metre mark, I was pretty confident from then on.
Were you happy to see him change his leg, Zach?
Oh, 100%. 100%. If he didn't, we're in trouble.
It's been a concern of yours, though, for a while, hasn't it, that he hadn't been doing that because, as David might have pointed out, he just didn't need to. But obviously he had to do it in the Everest, right, to get the job done.
Well, that's part of the problem, and more so in track work. He just does his work so easily. He just breezes up so comfortably that he doesn't have to change his legs. So he gets there on race day and he forgets that that's what he's meant to do. And when he gets into the habit of doing it, it's great. He just does it because he knows he's got to do it. He's actually quite an intelligent horse. But he just gets into that zone where he doesn't think he has to, and then he doesn't, and then the alarm bells start to go off in my head, and I'm like, "Come on, buddy, you got to help yourself out here and help me out." But he did it, and he did everything right, and it just added to the performance really.
What was that feeling like after you won, coming back, the crowd, your family around, a lot of people that you've known for decades, your whole career and everything like that, I imagine, coming up and congratulating you. What was all that like?
It's great because they don't always get to share those moments with me. They don't travel a lot and they miss out on a lot. So for them to be there, it's a special moment for them, and it's something that they get to enjoy. They're a part of it, and that's great. It's one thing me being successful for me, but I've got a lot of support, and it's great that they're able to be a part of it as much as I am.
Is there a race somewhere you'd like to win with this horse, like next internationally?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really think there's much else out there. Obviously, Japan's close to us. Dubai possibly. I've always said that I think he would go really good on the dirt. He's a phenomenal worker on the dirt, and he trials really well on the dirt. So America is an option. But when you look at the timing of the races, the prize money on offer, the travel that's involved, it's when you've got a $20 million race down there in Australia, and it's travel wise, it's pretty easy to get to. Time zone wise,
Yeah.
it's pretty similar. It just makes sense to go back to the Everest, and we've got the races here in Hong Kong in between. So I don't really think we'll see him anywhere else except Hong Kong and Australia.
I mean, if he wins the Everest twice or even potentially 3 times, because he's still relatively young and growing and doesn't look like he's slowing down any, like he would definitely be the world's richest racehorse at that point.
Yeah, well, so we're talking a few years down the track here, and he's got to stay fit and healthy, which we hope he does. But yeah, you're exactly right. At the age that he's at, there is really no reason why he can't keep competing at the level that he's at for quite some time. And it feels like he's only just starting to get to his peak now. I still don't really think we've seen the fully furnished, developed horse, which is really scary when you think about it. But
It is.
of course, he's getting right to the tip of his powers at the moment. But I still just feel like this trip away is going to have done him the world of good, and I think he's going to come back and mentally, physically, I think it's going to hold him in good stead for sure.
Who's going to want to take him on from an international perspective now with HKIR? From Australia's not going to want to send any sprinters, or Japan, are they? You kind of scared them all off after that performance.
Yeah, well, I was really surprised that the internationals wanted to come here in April last year for the champions meeting. I thought he would have scared them off prior to that, but the Japanese still sent a couple, and we had some here from Australia as well. So he hadn't deterred them from travelling at that point in time, but maybe now they'll sit up and take a little bit more notice.
Yeah. Is there anything that happened throughout that whole experience, Zach, um, in terms of any like funny stories or something that you think about when you look back on now, and just something a little bit unique or odd just through that whole experience?
Actually, there's not really. Like the barrier trial day itself obviously threw us off a little bit, but he just wasn't quite ready. And then after that, I seen his gallop on the Monday, he changed his leg, he did everything well, but he just looked so happy there in quarantine. Like we physically we couldn't get the weight off him. And that was the biggest part. Like he
Yeah.
was eating grass every day, he was cruising around the track, he just really enjoyed himself down there. But there really is no side story to anything that
Right.
we don't already know. And of course, I didn't get to stay there for the celebration. I sort of got someone to run back and mention to Winfred that maybe we should cancel the plane and stay in Australia for the celebration. But he was very quick to come and find me at the after party. I'd only just walked in the door to tell me that it was a good idea if I get on the plane to go home.
That's great. We actually took a guess at what flight you were on too, and managed to put it out there on Twitter sphere, and you let us know that we hit the bullseye, which was fantastic.
Yeah, you did your research well. Bang on.
Now, right before the Everest, you got that win aboard 20-1 shot, Rothfire in the Sydney Stakes as well, which I imagine must have been, if you were nervous, a nice little loosener before the Everest. But right after the Everest, of course, you rode Lake Forest for William Haggas, and Maureen Haggas, William's wife, certainly didn't hold back when discussing what she thought of your ride, Zach, on that occasion. Can I just play what she had to say?
Lake Forest, well, as far as I'm concerned, Lake Forest never had a race. I mean, it was about the worst ride I think I've ever seen in my entire life. I was appalled, absolutely appalled. We went all that way, and I mean, I don't know Zach Purton at all, but I mean, it was just dreadful. It was so disappointing because everyone knows he's a horse that you have to get, you have to tell him he's got to do it, and he knew that, and he was told it, and he just sat there like a big sissy. Yeah. I mean, I was horrified. I really was. We've gone all that way at that huge expense on the owner's part, and it just makes you realise how lucky we are with the jockeys we have in England, Ireland, and France.
Whew. How does it feel to be called a big sissy?
Well, off the back of that, I've had everyone at Trackwork calling me a big sissy now too. So he certainly started something. Maybe I should get some more merchandise made up.
Nice. That's great.
Unreal.
What was your reaction when you heard that?
Oh, to be honest, I was a bit surprised. The horse just didn't turn up on the day, and they can do that sometimes. But when I heard her say that, it did catch me off guard because I just didn't expect it. But anyway, like I said, she's entitled to her opinion, and good luck to her. But the horse did get beat over 7 lengths, so I thought she's probably picked the wrong time to vent her frustration, I think.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that too. I don't suppose you should be holding your breath for a Christmas card this year, by the sounds of things.
No, definitely not.
Your response was funny. You're like, oh, I was watching the replays of the Everest.
Yeah, that's right. I actually hadn't watched a replay of Lake Forest because I was too busy watching the replays of myself winning the $20 million Everest.
How many times?
Which was a bit tongue in cheek, but what else do you say, really?
Yeah, seriously, what are you going to say? Right?
Yeah.
How many times have you watched the replay, by the way?
Probably only sort of 3 or 4. It took a long time for me to reply back to all the messages I'd received, and I'm still getting more now, which is good, which is great. But things had only just started to die down, and now she's lit things back up, so my phone's going off again.
That's great. And I suppose you got some more texts and messages of congratulations after Happy Valley on Wednesday as well. 1,900 winners now. Congratulations on that. Alex and I were discussing that some form of bell is going to have to start coming out at around maybe what do you think, Alex? The 1950 mark? Is that fair enough?
No, that's way too much bell. We get maybe
Yeah.
1999, like when it gets to 990, the last 10, ring it up.
Yeah, I think so, because I think leading up to the record, they brought it out with like 20 to go, which, it puts a lot of pressure on you every meeting, every day, and it's not easy to ride 20 winners. Like I say, there's been 3 jockeys in history ride more than 100 winners in a season here. And we race for 10 months of the year, so that's 10 winners a month. So if you're bringing out 20 winners in front, theoretically that's about 2 months, right? If you're looking at the 100 win mark, which obviously I like to compete at a better strike rate than that, but it does, if you're banging a bell for 2 months, it's a good idea to start with, but people soon get sick of it.
The competition probably, I'd assume.
Yeah, they do. But I did offer for them to come out and ring the bell for me.
It didn't look like your son Cash got sick of it at any point, but he seemed to be enjoying ringing it. So hopefully we'll get some form of. Has there been any discussion about what's going to come out next time? Is it a bell or something else?
I'm not sure. No, they haven't come to me with any ideas. They did come to me with the bell idea before they did it and asked me what I thought, and I said, yeah, that sounds good. So whether they run it past me again or not, I'm not sure. But there hasn't, as far as I'm aware, they're still trying to work out what they're going to do.
No worries.
Probably like a DJ horn, like a fwah, fwah, fwah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll let the powers to be to decide what's the best path to go down is.
Is
Not another. Oh, sorry, Brownie.
I was just going to ask Zach: is 2,000 winners something you want to tick off this season?
Of course, yeah. If I don't get to 2,000 this season from where I'm at now, I'll be really disappointed. Yeah, I'll be trying to get that as quick as I can as well. And I feel like, the start of the season is always a little bit tricky because although the trainers have the best intentions to get the horses ready, sometimes they're racing against the clock and they've booked me to ride a horse, so they don't want to let me down, so they still run it even though it's just not quite there. Or it might have trialled average, but they'll still send it to the races. And then you're up against horses that actually have been prepared really well and they're set to go on the day. So the form can be a little bit misleading. And then you have the wet weather. So there are days of track work where you've got to alter the training schedule. And then you get to a race day where it's wet, so the form doesn't really mean anything. So the start of the season is really, really difficult to get right. But then once we start to get into the season, as we are starting to get into it now, the form's a little bit more consistent. It's easier to read. The tracks are drier. You can rely a bit more on the barrier trials and the race form, and it's easier to start to pick my rides and place my horses. So now that we're getting to this stage of the season, I feel like I can start to build a little bit more momentum and then start to tick over the winners a little bit more frequently. So, we're just past 1,900 now, and hopefully 2,000's only a few months down the track.
Awesome. So on the topic of records, do you think Ka Ying Rising can get the silent witness record at this point? He knocked off the Everest, the tallest peak of the mountain there.
Yeah, well, let's hope so. What's he at now? Is it 14 or 15?
I believe this is 14, so he'll be on 15.
Okay, yep. So he's 3 off it. It's very achievable for him. Yeah, so let's just hope that that's the next thing he can do, and he would deserve it because people that have been around longer than me have been saying that they think he's worthy of having that crown. So, and his performances are the best that they've seen, whether they're right or wrong, and it's very hard to line up one era against the next, and I hate doing that myself because I think you need to respect what a horse has done and in his time, in his moment, because there are always different challenges and opposition that you come up against, so it's really, really hard to line it up properly. But I think with the following he's got now and what he's done, if you think about horses that are worthy of something like that, then I think he falls into that category.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be looking forward to following him and yourself through the rest of the season, Zach. We've got to thank you so much, as always, for your time. We know you've got to go off and get a nice massage or something, whatever you've got
Tea
planned.
time, boys. Tea time. Got to play golf.
Oh, it's golf. You've got to get up to your tea time. Thanks again for your time. Congratulations on everything that happened in Australia last weekend. It was phenomenal to watch from back here in the States. I think you've got even more American fans, so we can't wait to get you over here for a ride or something at some point too.
Well, that'd be nice. I'd love to get over there for the Kentucky Derby or Breeders' Cup or something like that. So at the moment, I'm got the Ka Ying Rising hat on for golf today. So I'm repping the boy.
Always terrific to catch up with Zach, and he's always so great with his time and so insightful, isn't he, Alex?
Yeah, eloquent as always, and excited for him to get that another checkbox on the CV there, the Everest, world's richest sprint race. And how wild would it be if he could win it again next year too? I don't see why they wouldn't try it again.
Yeah, why not 2027 as well? The Hong Kong Jockey Club have that slot for the next 3 years total. So for the next 2 years, so it could be Ka Ying 26 and 27. Who knows? All right, Alex. There was another big race last weekend in Hong Kong, the Group 2 Sha Tin Trophy. What did you think of that performance from My Wish?
Awesome. And it was such a unique race, right, going in because of the weight disparity with Voyage Bubble carrying obviously the high weight and J-Mac not being in town. And he had a tough run, 3 wide, no cover, and clearly a first up run where he didn't finish off his run very well. But My Wish, out of the Classic Series last year and arguably could have and should have won the Hong Kong Derby as advertised, and he kicked on clarity. He's finally broke that 1,000 pounds. He's getting a little bit bigger, not by much, but just a little bit. But he looks like a mammoth out there on the track the way he runs. And look, he might be the one who takes over the guard at the mile distance from Voyage Bubble, who seemingly looks like he's going to target the 2,000 and a run against Romantic Warrior. And obviously, like I said, he needed that race. But My Wish is super exciting. We got another couple horses this week to look forward to coming out of that Classic Series last year, again, which always produces so many good horses in Hong Kong over the last years. So something to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. Trainer Mark Noonan saying after the race too that the horse just continues to mature, which is a great sign. And as you mentioned, we're heading towards the Hong Kong Mile now, HKIR, in about 6 weeks' time. So that'll be exciting stuff with My Wish and Voyage Bubble taking on the 2,000 meter event instead. So it's there for the taking, the mile, really.
Yeah, and it's interesting now. We talked to Zach about Ka Ying Rising, how he's just kind of learning putting it all together. Flightline was similar in America, where he was just at the Pacific Classic. Just around that time, he started realizing what he needed to do in the mornings. And in America, we don't get to see these horses run beyond 3-4 years old a lot of the time. And just how good are some of these ones getting, where they just figure it out and put the pieces together, and it's great and something to look forward to. And not all of them are early developers at 2-year-olds, and we get to see that in Hong Kong, which is wonderful.
Yeah. Well, it's time to find you a couple of winners at Sha Tin this weekend. And the feature race at Sha Tin on Saturday night, early hours Sunday morning, North American time, is the Group 2 the Premier Bowl over the 1,200 metres. That's about 6 furlongs on the turf. Number 1, Helios Express. Speaking of Ka Ying Rising, Helios Express has been a bridesmaid on 5 occasions last season to Ka Ying Rising. He'll have bigger targets later in the season, but this is a good launch pad for him. Packing Hermit will get the services of Zach Purton, draws well. Wunderbar will be better for the run for his last out run and steps up in trip. Devano dropping back to 1,200 metres, where he ran actually a nice third to Ka Ying Rising 2 starts back. Alex, who do you like in this race as we take a look at the speed map?
It's such a good race here too. And obviously Helios Express is going to like the class reprieve, getting no Ka Ying Rising this time. Maybe we'll see him back in the winner's circle. First up, size horses generally take a few runs to get into form. And he looks like one that might be targeting his best efforts at HKIR. I like Fast Network here. He ran so well at the five furlongs, 1,000 meters last out. He's going to get back, I would imagine, from barrier 12. And again, another one of those horses out of the Classic Series, Helios Express, the years before. But I do like Fast Network in there. And as a roughie, use the terms of Andrew Brown and the Aussies, I like Invincible Shield. I don't know if he's going to be ready first up, but he's a nice horse. And I do potentially see him being a graded stakes type in his future there in Hong Kong. He had a couple impressive runs last season and he's acclimated to Hong Kong racing. And another one to keep an eye on too, I don't know how he's going to fare against this class, but Tomodachi Kokoro has just been absolutely outstanding this season with 2 wins. And he's looked to have turned a corner. He's running incredibly well every time, and if he gets the run to suit like he has the last few times from barrier 5, he could be right there. What about you, Brownie? What do you think?
Well, I tell you what, based on the numbers that you're going with, if you're playing any horizontal wagers with this race, it might be a spread race because I'm willing to give Wunderbar another shot. I think he's going to be better suited by the extra distance here, and better for that first up run as well. As I mentioned, I think Davano, a little favourite of mine, can inject a bit of value into the exotics, and Helios Express should be thereabouts. As I mentioned, this a launching pad for bigger and better things down the track, but he's just so consistent and has all of that fantastic form around Ka Ying Rising. My best bet, named after Alex, actually, race 4, number 1, Mr. Cool, who's going to be better for a first up run and looked really great in a recent trial. So race 4, number 1, Mr. Cool. Alex, I know you've got your eye on another big race and a few big stars coming back as well. Race 6, right?
Race 6, yeah, we got the return of Massive Sovereign, Hong Kong Derby winner from was it 2 seasons ago, facing off against Ruby Lot and Hong Lot Golf, who had a good first up run there and finished 3rd. Steps Ahead's in there as well. It's a really nice race, and I don't know. I think you get some value in that race as well. So it's going to be one to keep an eye out. A lot of talented horses, and some of those horses we could potentially see running in HKIR in a few weeks' time.
Yep, I'm sensing that you might be up late on Saturday night watching these races.
Yeah, we got a Halloween party, so we'll see if we get the costumes out and what we look like. But I don't know. We got Breeders' Cup stuff next week, so I'm probably going to be keeping it a bit more on the adult side, if you will.
Gotcha. And the Hong Kong Jockey Club actually betting on a number of Breeders' Cup races next week. So Alex and I will be on the grounds at Del Mar, where I have been all week, to do our Hong Kong racing show from Del Mar next week. And we'll have a look for our Hong Kong fans and viewers out there. We'll have a look at those races that you are going to be able to bet on as well from Hong Kong on the Breeders' Cup World Championships here at Del Mar next Friday and Saturday. But that's about it for the show for this week. Alex, thanks always for your time. And we will see you next week from Del Mar on the Hong Kong Racing Show.